Have you ever seen something from the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you looked again? How about hearing from a friend of a friend that while they were hiking somewhere, they thought they saw something impossible, but when they spoke to a ranger, there was always a simple explanation that left you unsatisfied? My name is Chris, and this is my colleague Jack, and we're senior wardens for the Creature Conservation Initiative. We protect the world from the creatures of superstition and myth, but more importantly, protect those same creatures from the world. Welcome everyone to another episode of blinkandyoullmythit. I hope you're doing fine, and I cannot talk for shit today, so prepare for an amazing episode. Jack, how are you doing? Are you able to save this episode, maybe?
Oh yes, I'm talking very eloquently and verbosely in my language today. So you know what? I think I can probably save this, arsehole. Why I said that at the end? It felt like the right thing to say.
I think that says a lot about you and our relationship.
Yes. But I'm doing great, thank you very much. I can speak and everything. I've got words down to a T.
Fantastic. I mean, you'd think after more than 2 years of doing this, at some point I would learn to talk, but, you know.
Who needs to talk? It's only a podcast.
Exactly. Talking is overrated.
I'm sure there's subtitles in there.
Sure, probably, maybe. I'm sure YouTube auto-generates some.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I appear to be in a silly mood tonight. So this could be quite fun.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, should we get right into it then, before we waste any more time talking about our shortcomings?
Yeah, go for it. Let's go.
We are talking today about a famous-ish creature from Thailand, from the Southeast Asia region. And I was a little bit debating whether I should even do this episode, because we have talked before about the Manananggal.
Yes.
I pronounced that correctly, and it's
the Manananggal.
Exactly, the Manananggal. And it is relatively similar, at least at first glance. So I thought maybe I shouldn't do that, but at the same time, screw you, and also it's famous, it deserves an episode. So basically what it is, or what it is called, I should maybe mention, we are talking about the Krasue, which is a name that is, it's not on the same level as a banshee or something, but some people might have heard of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I get you now. Like, as in, like, yeah, I'm with you. So what was it again? Krasue.
It is basically a floating head with organs attached to it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can see the connection to the Manananggal.
Exactly, just like the Manananggal is, they're both a part of almost like a family in that kind of region. There's a lot of creatures that split at various parts of their bodies and fly around with their intestines hanging out, which is, you know, a weird kind of development.
Have you found one that splits at the crotch? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Chris?
Unfortunately not.
Because I mean,
I'm still
chasing me down the road, flying at me. That is a nightmare.
The mental image.
I know. Enjoy that one, listeners. All right, yeah, well, okay. So tell me a little bit more about this.
Yes, I will. So the Krasue is, as I said...
It flaps.
It flaps. What the hell? So, the Krasue is usually said to be a beautiful young woman during the day, and at night the head detaches from the body, and then it floats around, and it doesn't have the bat wings, so there's a little bit of aesthetic difference there. And when you look at this entire group of creatures, you can kind of identify them a little bit by which organs exactly are still attached to the body in this state, or to the head, I should say.
Okay, so is there like a subgroup of these Krasue, was it?
Krasue.
Krasue, sorry, so like a subgroup of these, and they've got like one's got the intestines hanging out, one's got like a pair of lungs flapping, or
I think the Krasue are a subgroup. There's also the Arp
okay.
and the Mananangul, and they are all kind of
I'm with you
connected.
now,
And some of them, some of them carry their lungs around, some do not, some only have the heart, and that can be kind of helpful to narrow down what you are looking at, because there are certainly differences in terms of how dangerous an encounter is.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, for example, in this case, what you usually see is the heart, the lung, the stomach, and a bit of intestine. So most of the organs you probably want to have are just locked around. It's this variant is mainly at home in the Thailand area, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
And I tend to start with talking about what the name actually means or where it comes from, but I'm not sure in this case. I found one reference that translates the name as filth ghost, which I wasn't able to verify, and I don't speak the language, but maybe they're working backwards, because if they can't find any like blood or fresh meat or whatever they usually prefer, they tend to eat less savory stuff like carrion or feces.
Okay.
So they kind of
like clean up,
consume whatever they can. Yes.
Yeah. It's a carrion creature, is what they call it. Like carrion bird and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So would that kind of seem like a good category for it?
Yeah, but only as a backup. So they do prefer, if they can get it, they prefer meat or blood, or you might remember when we talked about Mananangul, that you said there were rumors about them eating the fetus from pregnant women.
Yeah.
And that you weren't able to verify that this actually happens. That might be because it is the Krasue that likes to do this, and there might have been some cross-pollination between the somewhat similar creatures.
So essentially, it's a bit of it's not picky, but it has preferences, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. And so it's kind of like it'll just eat anything it can get its hands on, but it has preferences of what it will go for.
Yes, and this fetus eating is basically on top of the preference lists, unfortunately. And
I mean, it's the most tender meat.
It is, I guess.
Sorry, so sorry.
Slimy yet satisfying.
That is the worst place for a Lion King reference.
Yeah, but what I wanted to get at is that they also have quite a long tongue, not quite like the Manangulu, that, directed it through the chimney and over meters and meters through the house. But long enough to retrieve a fetus, let's say.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's unpleasant.
I'm gonna leave the exact logistics to your imagination, but
thanks.
That is pretty much the only time, though, that it will in any way enter a direct confrontation.
Okay.
Because it will usually go for sleeping people, or even like cattle or chickens or stuff.
Yeah.
It's more like I guess you could say a mosquito in a way. It's not a strong hunter or anything. It's just it goes to where it can suck blood, hopefully undetected and that kind of thing. Except in the case of pregnant women, which it's kind of hard to do this whole thing without waking someone up. I assume. Okay. I haven't been pregnant myself, but. That's what I assume.
Fair. I mean, if you've not quite had that experience yet, you can't really comment, can you?
Yeah.
So essentially, would you kind of class it as like a parasitic creature to a certain degree?
I guess so. My
Not so much
my
like a
biology
dependent
is...
parasite, not something that needs to be constantly attached to something, but
Yeah.
like rather than being a direct, like it's not a predator per se. It's more of a parasite feeds on what it can on that carrion kind of end of things.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
I feel like that kind of like explain. I feel like I've got an idea of where it kind of sits in kind of the hierarchy of creatures and dangers and what it does.
Yeah. So what that basically means is that you don't really have to be afraid when you're out and about because it's not gonna attack you, but you should probably keep your windows closed when you're sleeping at night.
Yeah, it's probably... Oh, that's probably quite difficult in Thailand.
Yeah, it's not always easy.
Well, very hot.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that later.
Okay.
In some more detail.
Excellent.
There are, of course, several legends about how they come to be, and there's the usual candidates like it's a curse that's passed down from generations, originating from some Khmer princess, apparently, who was burned, and some protection spell only protected her head and organs, and so that somehow passed down.
What a weird spell.
Yeah.
I'm going to protect your head and your organs, but not the rest of your body. The rest of it's buggered.
I think that was more an accident than anything, as far as I can tell from the stories, but I'm not entirely sure. Because there's also the variant of this that it's basically kind of witchcraft and a failed spell.
Okay, that kind of makes sense to me as an origin story, at least.
Yeah. There's also a very prevalent theme as sinful life. There's the idea that this is some kind of punishment for sins you have committed or for sinful earlier life, all of that. There's also the idea, which I guess comes from Western mythology, maybe. I'm not sure when that started, but there's the idea that they can pass it on to others, either by biting or because people consume food or drink which has their saliva in it. Which also isn't true. I suppose that's just some kind of legend to scare people into being somewhat hygienic and, don't drink from cups that sick people used. I don't know.
I mean, that's generally quite good advice, but you know what? If you need a really good reason not to, here you go.
Yeah.
But essentially, it sounds like with the myth and all that kind of stuff, it's basically been a bit of an allegory for behave yourself, don't sin, do good things, don't turn to the dark side.
Yeah, also clean up, because if there's feces around or whatever, then the Krasue might come and that kind of stuff.
As we found with a lot of these creatures, a lot of the time, the myth and everything that follows it tends to boil down to this kind of thing. Doesn't it really?
Yeah, most of the time, really.
Yeah.
There's always some kind of moral attached.
Yeah. If you can't find the creature, but you know it exists, turn it into an allegory. Yeah. That's what myth tends to go for.
That's true.
And to be fair, we at the CCI have probably accentuated that to a certain degree.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, unicorns, they only like people who behave themselves. Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
Send it.
Yeah. So you might be wondering how you defend yourself against them.
Of course.
The most common thing that actually works is that you put up spiky fences around your house, or spiky bamboo, or some kind of variations of that, because the Krasue usually avoid these things because they are their intestines get tangled in that very easily, so they kind of avoid all of that spiky nonsense, basically, so they don't get stuck and basically die there.
Really? Amazing.
Yeah. You can also kill them by destroying or hiding their body or cutting off their intestines, which, to be honest, would also kill me, so... It's not really special.
I mean, it's a rather permanent fix for most things. I will give them that.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's wrong.
No, it definitely works. It's just, very direct.
Yeah. And I assume you'd have to catch one of these things.
Yeah.
To be able to even do that. And
exactly.
I'm guessing that's not an easy thing to do.
Usually not, because they try to remain undetected. As I said, they are not like...
Yeah.
They don't go for open confrontations, so you usually don't get too close to them. If you know who it is, then of course you might find where that person sleeps and
trap them, catch them,
do something to that body. But
that sounds... yeah.
Not what you think. Jesus Christ.
Okay, yeah, but so essentially it's pretty much kill it is how you get rid of it, stop it from bothering but you stop it from bothering you by essentially putting up security systems around your house to stop it from being able to get to you.
So primarily you go for avoidance rather than
confrontation.
Direct confrontation.
Yeah.
So they usually return to their bodies before the sun comes up. It's not like they immediately go up in flames in sunlight, but they can't stay away from the body for extended periods of time. Like they need the kind of remaining organs and circulatory system, and the body in turn needs the heart and all of that. And there's also the fact that in the sun, the exposed organs they dry out relatively quickly, and then you get dehydration and all of that. So they're not like vampires, but
so they are a little bit kind of still dependent on normal needs, food, water.
Yes.
Rest, that kind of thing.
Yes, that is
okay.
That ties into the, in my opinion, most interesting part, because during the day, when they are attached to their bodies, they act like perfectly normal humans.
Really?
Yes, they are intelligent. They are basically indistinguishable from a human being in pretty much any way.
So when you say like perfectly normal, are you talking that they actually do just completely interact normally? They're not even hunting. They are just people.
They are just people, and at least in modern times, I think that used to be different. But in modern times, they are aware of what they are, but they're kind of ashamed of it almost, and they try to keep it under control. Like in any good werewolf fiction, they know they are the monster, and they try to take measures to keep that under control because they just won't be left alone mostly. And, when they detach from, or when the head detaches from the body, the head gets into this kind of very instinct-driven, almost primal kind of mode of operation. And when that happens, they are kind of vaguely aware of what happens, but they're not really in control. For them, it's kind of like somewhere between a dream and sleepwalking, that kind of thing. It kind of has its own will, but they also kind of remember what happens when the head is out on its own.
That's fascinating as a thing.
Is.
So it's almost they're almost unwilling monsters.
Yes, very much.
Wow.
It's almost like the higher brain functions shut off at night as they do when you sleep. But then there's the kind of animalistic part that we have found that kind of keeps going and keeps hunting for food.
Wow.
And I suppose that's also why typically during the day they appear normal, except for that they basically always look tired.
Yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if they're not happy about something, if they are moving around all the time at night, even if the higher brain functions are resting.
Yeah. But they're never fully resting, so that
they're quite tragic then, aren't they, really?
They are. it's also very interesting if you don't know about this stuff beforehand, which ties into how I interacted with them.
Oh, God.
Because it is once again one of these kinds of creatures that well, I wasn't actually there because of them, but for something else entirely.
I'm starting to think we haven't actually been sent out to deal with a lot of pretty much all of these creatures. We just seem to keep ending up dealing with these creatures. We seem to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Makes you wonder if it's really a coincidence of someone setting us up, but maybe let's not go too deep into that on recording.
Yeah, can't let them have the evidence.
Yeah.
We're on to you, you bastards.
We'll get you. Yeah. So I was in Thailand because of some imps. It took a few days. You might remember talk about the avocado incident, and
it rings a bell.
Yeah, it was a big kerfuffle. Anyways, it took a few days, and after that was done, there was nothing really lined up for me. So I decided I might as well just stay a couple more weeks, because apart from like imps and giant spiders and stuff, Thailand is a beautiful country. And
you're not wrong.
And the other reason was that in the village where I was staying during my work, I met a nice lady. Let's call her Alice for privacy's sake. And
I swear to God, Chris, if this is another mermaid situation.
Well, you'll be surprised, or maybe not.
So the way you said that was great.
Yeah, we kind of got to talk while I was staying there. She was smart, we got along, and we spent time with each other. And she was always kind of weird about spending time in the evening, but I didn't really question it. And
yeah, different cultures, different people.
Yeah, might be a cultural thing, who knows. This goes on for a few days, and one night I wake up in the middle of the night because something is kind of tickling me, and it's, as is dramatically appropriate, it was kind of a full-ish moon, so there was some light getting into the house, and I opened my eyes half asleep, and I looked down, and I saw a familiar face kind of attached to my arm. And I was still half asleep, so my first thought was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And then I got my brain got a little bit further into the boot process, and thought that even
what are you doing here?
Yes, even under the best possible circumstances, this was kind of creepy. It turned into like, "What are you doing here?" And then I finally completed the boot process and realized that there was no goddamn body attached to this head, and there was kind of blood dripping down from my arm.
Well,
yeah. And then, I scream, she screams. I probably made extremely manly sounds as I shrieked and rolled out of bed and pushed her head away from me. And I kind of scramble for my weapon, any weapon in my nightstand drawer, but by the time I have it, she's already flying out of the window again.
Yes.
And I was unsure what this was, because, as I said, there's a lot of similar creatures in that area, and I'm not an expert on all of them. Who knows if they might be venomous or whatever the hell. So I call into base to report the incident, and also to ask them if I'm about to die, basically, which they negated. From what we gathered, it was most likely a Krasue, which led the operator to tell me that fits some incidents in the last couple of years around this village. So maybe I've stumbled upon something there. And,
as is a general skill that we wardens have,
stumbling into trouble.
God knows what.
Yes. I'm an expert in that field. And
you're not allowed to have good footing as a warden of the CCI.
Yeah.
You need to be able to stumble.
So much stumbling. We have special courses to teach people how to stumble.
You have no idea how many dyspraxic people are CCI agents.
Yeah.
We stumble like the best of them.
Yeah. Anyway, I finished the call and it is still quite dark and it's still the night, but I don't really feel comfortable sleeping again for obvious reasons. So I take out my laptop and kind of research what I'm dealing with. So, knowledge is power and all of that. And,
of course.
Yeah. And then I got this question in my head if I even recognize the face correctly. Like, I was 80% sure, but, it was dark. I was half asleep. So I probably had to make sure. And,
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went outside and went towards Alice's house. And sure enough, there were these kinds of trails of blood drops and kind of organ slime residue around her window. And as I was kind of debating with myself whether that meant that the head came out of there or the head also got into that house, and as I was sitting very non-creepy like in a bush in the that was close to the house. I promise I usually don't do that. But
I certainly don't have my camcorder with me all the time.
Yeah, but as I was kind of debating whether she was the perpetrator or another victim here, I saw the head actually returning and floating into this house. So from that on, it was pretty clear that it was returning to base and that I had correctly identified it. And that led to a kind of awkward conversation in the morning. You know how it goes, like, hey, how are you doing? Did you sleep well? Did you suck my blood last night?
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, classic. And yeah, sure enough, it was kind of awkward, but after some back and forth, it became clear that it was kind of an accident, like a lock on the window broke, and that's why she kind of got out at night, and she was very apologetic about it, and I was inclined to believe her. But there was also the fact that stuff had consistently happened over the last, couple of years in that village. And another fact that came out during this conversation was that apparently almost this entire village consisted of Krasues, or at least the women that lived there. It was like a whole community of them. And so that basically meant I had to investigate around, which she was not happy about. And basically, to cut things short, the next conversation that I had with her went less well than the first one because, long story short, I arrested her grandma and she doesn't speak to me anymore.
Every way that could have ended. I was not expecting. I arrested a grandma.
Neither did I, but apparently she was getting on in years, and at some point she apparently decided to say, "F it, I'm gonna eat what I want." And that included tourists and... Yeah. I had to do something, but I didn't exactly get any brownie points with that, so...
Yeah, I get that. All right then. Well, I mean, the only other question I really have is, what did we do with the rest of the village?
What we basically did was they usually contain themselves, so we don't really need to do much with them. But what we have tried to do is to make sure that tourists don't really go there.
Okay.
Kind of funnel this kind of industry somewhere else into other villages and cities. Basically just minimize any potential for accidents. But yeah, as I said, they are intelligent, and they are usually very, very rational about this and don't want to cause any harm. So there was not a lot of reason to do anything specific there, except maybe talk to a few people who knew about grandma running amok. So there was a little bit of an issue there, but
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, there's not really much else to say. You kind of disarmed me right at the end there, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, I guess that's about it. But yeah, if you want to find any murderous grandmas, where do you suggest people might go looking for those?
Well, if you go to the description of this episode or of the video, or whatever, in some way, shape, or form, go to where we've talked a little bit about what is part of this episode before you start listening or watching. You will find a link, and on that link, if you click it, it will invite you to the Blink and You Will Mythit Discord, or You'll Mythit Discord. And upon that Discord, you can find a whole host of potential murderous grannies for you to say hello to, for you to get to know, maybe help out on there. And at the same time, you can
Or
start...
get murdered.
Or get murdered. You never know. Hey, I don't shame. Whatever you like is what you like, as long as it's safe and consensual. But
is murder safe?
I don't know, and personally, I'm wiping my hands of that one. Don't murder people, don't get murdered. But while you're also not getting murdered and you're not murdering people, you can just suggest episodes, discuss with people within that Discord. Try and become our best friends. Maybe, just maybe, if you show enough promise, you might get recruited to the CCI. Cannot say 100% that you definitely will, but you never know. They recruited us, and we're not sure how.
Yeah.
The bar is not high.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard what we do, so...
As long as you can run. But yes, and you can suggest episodes, you can ask us questions, because between Chris and I, we have seen pretty much everything out there, or been sent to go find something out there. And if there's something new, we usually get sent out to go see it in the first place. So we're going to be pretty knowledgeable, and we can always find something for you. But while they're doing that, Chris, what else should they be doing?
Well, you should obviously be rating this podcast. You should have done so ages ago, but the next best time is now. So give us give us those stars, give us those thumbs up, whatever the platform is using. Give us a comment, give us a subscription, all the algorithm stuff that makes us popular and feel like we are worth something, and that lightens the darkness in our hearts.
We need it.
Yeah, we absolutely do need it. And while you are doing all of that, you might as well listen to old episodes, because we have been doing this for a while now. We're now at episode 60 something, and there's bound to be some interesting stuff in there. No, we have more than 5 episodes.
65.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get at is there's no continuity. Just, browse and look at some of the creature names, and if anything sounds interesting, give it a listen. And then give all of the others that don't sound as interesting a listen as well, because it helps us. And, you have the time.
You have time and the power.
Yeah.
There is no other podcast out there like this. There is no other podcast out there like this. That is, I'm going to take that as a positive.
I mean, that much is true, I guess. Technically, there's no other podcast like this.
Exactly.
This is the best podcast about the creature conservation initiative that there is on the internet. I'm going to confidently say that. Also, what I didn't mention yet is you should share this podcast with everyone you know, with all of the parasites in your life.
Just like cookies.
Yeah, just like cookies. And the best part is, unlike cookies, the more you share, the more we gain from that, and the more podcasts you get. So actually, sharing is getting you more. So
we'd love to give you
for
more.
Everyone involved.
We'd love to give you so much.
Leads to exponential growth of this podcast until the entire universe is plastered with Blink and Your Mythit merch.
Hey, if you make us big enough, we might even be able to get a third person who would make us less insufferable. I'm not making a promise, but you never know.
I don't think anyone can make us less insufferable.
Maybe they can make us more insufferable. Who knows?
That is very much possible.
The only way you're going to find out is by supporting us and making us bigger.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a beautiful note to end on. So I'm gonna say thank you very much for listening. See you in 2 weeks' time for another episode, and goodbye.
Goodbye.